Steve, good afternoon. Welcome back to Friday at 4 on the Q.A.C. Team Podcast. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you, Charles?
Hanging in there. I'm
Hope
coming
so.
to you from Ellicott City, Maryland.
Nice.
We're on the
Nice.
road
Jealous.
today.
I'm
What you
sorry.
got for me today?
What do I got for you today? So, this idea was given to me by an amazing person, so I figured I'd run with it.
Hey, great.
I don't want to say, but that amazing person was you. So, okay, but let's get by that.
Well,
Um,
thank you, sir.
my pleasure. So, what we were kind of thinking about is we all do things all year long. Sometimes it's the same things, and sometimes it's different things. I live in New York, so the seasons change. They may be hot all the time in Arizona and in Las Vegas and California, but in New York, the seasons change. And based on that, we do different activities. And sometimes those activities could be a little more risky than others.
Mm.
So in the nice weather, if you're adventurous, which I'm not, maybe you skydive, maybe you do something different in the winter. But what it really comes down to is what are you doing to protect yourself?
Yeah.
Now, you could skydive and have four backup parachutes. I don't know what it is. I've never done that before, but I know you have at least one backup. That I do know. But in the unforeseen situation that those both of those parachutes don't open, if somebody's skydiving with you, maybe they can somehow whatever they do to catch up to you on the way down, catch you, their parachute opens and you're safe. You can tell I'm way out of my range here. But
You and me
what
both.
I'm sorry?
You and me both. I don't know anything
I have
about it.
no clue.
I'm not gonna skydive. No, I'm good.
I'm not either. Um, I think it's something great. I envy the people that do because it's something I won't. So I envy you, and I'm saying don't stop, but just think about
Yeah.
something that if for some odd reason your parachute and your backup don't open, it's not the fall that will get you. It's that sudden stop at the bottom.
Yes,
So
sir.
if that, oh, every time. So if that happens, how do you protect your loved ones, your family, your kids, your parents, your whoever, who do you want to donate to a charity or whatever you want to do? How do you provide financially for that? Or if you happen to be on a cruise ship and you look at the weather forecasts and that time of the year, that ocean is supposed to be smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But if that sudden storm pops up, if that rogue wave comes along and the boat kind of rocks a little, because I've been on those and they're not fun, but when it really rocks, what do you do?
Yeah.
And if some of you might remember this, because I'm going back a ways, there was a movie called The Poseidon Adventure. And for those of you who are not familiar with it, it was a very large cruise ship and a rogue wave came along. And they didn't, for whatever reason, they didn't go on sonar or radar and see the wave until it was too late. And the boat flips and almost everybody passes away, which was not a good movie to see a week before I went on my first cruise. So,
Oh,
timing's everything here. But the idea is, what are you doing differently that you potentially put yourself in a vulnerable position?
yeah.
Unintentionally, of course, unintentionally. I'm not saying anything else. But
Yeah.
what do you do? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your loved ones? So the idea is for an absolute minimum cost. I'm talking minimum cost. Have the peace of mind that everybody's taken care of. As an example, my son just did some travel. And we sent, and he's back and he's fine. But what we did for him for $30 a month, and this is not a sales pitch, I'm just telling you what I did.
Yeah.
For $30 a month, he has a $500,000 coverage. His sister is his beneficiary, not even me, and that's okay. But just in case something happens, pay off the car loan, give somebody else the ability to live a better financial life. You will be missed, but financially, make somebody else in a better position.
Right.
Again, it's not a topic I'm happy talking about by any stretch, but it's something that I want people to understand. It doesn't cost a lot, but the benefit could be huge. Could
Yeah.
be huge.
Yeah. So is this time of year, um, just thinking about, it's October, it's a third quarter, close to the third, in the fourth quarter of the year, the third quarter going to the fourth quarter. Is this like some different time of year to start looking at these kind of things, or is there any? I'm just trying to figure out, is there some
Yeah.
like this time of year? Is there some time they really should be thinking about things, or is that any time of the year is usually pretty good?
So the answer to that really is yes. And I know you asked several questions, but the answer is yes. So again, I'll go back to the fact that I'm in New York. And when it gets really bad and those winter storms come in, New York, Boston, up north on the East Coast,
Uh,
and there's a ton of snow out there, the first thing you hear from all the news stations, the weather stations everywhere, be careful of shoveling snow and getting a heart attack.
yeah, that's a big
So
thing.
in that case,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I said, yeah, it's a
and
big
it's
thing.
reality.
Yeah.
Um, if you're no matter where you live, if you have the hot summers and you mow your own lawn, even with an electric or a gas powered lawnmower, the potential for being out in the sun is a stroke from the
Yeah.
heat. So again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this, but to answer your question, the time to think about this is all the time
Yeah.
because we never know what's going to happen when.
Yeah.
And, you want to be protected. And again, non sales pitch, but the earlier you are, the less it costs. And depending on what you do, you could potentially be done paying, but still be covered in a very short number of years. So it makes sense to do something, put it on the back shelf, and have peace of mind. And
Yeah.
that's what we tell everybody to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't sure if they're like early on in the year, later in the year, if there were specific times that you should sign up for things or look at coverage. And I, like you said, right, any time of the year is a good time of year to
Any
really
time of the year is
look at the
good.
coverage, right? Yeah.
So I'll go a step further because as you were asking the question, I was thinking about this too. A good time, and some people say yes, some people say no, but a great time when a child is born, a
Ah,
month after the child is born, when they're young, when they're healthy, when it's the cheapest it's ever going to be, get something that will be paid up for in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It carries through their life and it's done being paid for. That's the best kind of thing that you can possibly have.
yeah.
Some people say, I don't want to insure my baby. It may be a bad omen. Well, here's something that I learned. Whether you have a policy or not on a child has zero bearing on what happens to that child. Zero.
That is the truth.
But what you have is the protection. Because here's the harsh reality most people don't have coverage
Yeah.
on them, their partner, their kids, their parents. So what happens is when a loved one does graduate life, more and more I'm seeing GoFundMe pages but the average GoFundMe page only generates about $2,400. Now, again, where you live, things are different, but here in New York area, an inexpensive funeral is 10 grand.
Yeah.
So if you're getting
We're about that
2,400,
as well. Yeah, it's about 10 to 20,000.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm low on my numbers.
Yeah.
Um, but so in fact, I was in a networking meeting this morning and I made the statement as an example. If you have a GoFundMe page, number one, you're telling everybody that you can't afford to take care of a loved one that just passed away.
Yeah.
Do you really want the world to know that?
Yeah.
Not only that, but if you're only getting on average 2,400 and it's costing you, again, in the New York area, 10 grand, which is low, where do you get the difference?
Yeah.
And then if it is somebody who is an income earner, now you're dealing with the loss of income.
Yeah.
So doesn't it make sense to have something inexpensive that will protect you to allow you to maintain your existing lifestyle? Stay in the house, pay the credit cards, pay the auto loans, put the kids to college. It just makes sense.
Yeah. And if you don't need it, it's still there in the future.
Correct. Correct. It's
Yeah.
still there in the future. Depending
Yep.
on the type, it could build cash so you can use it for later, which is tax free.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's why I wanted to ask that question, because I wasn't sure if, there's a specific time of year that you should dust off the policies, spring
Yep.
cleaning and winter cleaning, and are there
Mhm.
things to do ahead of
Right.
time to prepare? I don't know.
So yeah, so I'll give you another one. Somebody who buys a house. Okay, so I believe when you buy a house and if you take a mortgage, you need coverage to protect for fire and flood. And that's through the bank, through the mortgage company, whoever you're getting it through to protect them because they gave you the loan.
Yeah,
But it goes back to the same thing of how does the surviving partner or family continue to live? Pay
yeah,
the taxes, pay the food, pay. That's
right.
where when you get married, again, if you're young enough and healthy enough, take the coverage, pay off the mortgage,
Yeah,
and then continue to live. So it's an all the
right.
time thing.
Or you can take a throw a mean party with all the money and continue paying the bills.
Now there's an option. I like that option. I like that. Have a
A
party.
going away party. Sayonara.
Celebrate. So I'm not big on this type of stuff, but from what I've heard, the Irish are very big on big parties to celebrate the life of the person that just graduated life, that just passed away. And I
Yeah,
think that's great because you want to remember the good things, not that they were sick.
yeah,
So in that case, yeah, take some of the money, have a party, remember them in
yeah,
a positive way.
yeah. And something I want to mention. I don't know if we talked about this or not in all of our episodes, but
Mhm.
I always, and I talk to a lot of people about this, that date on your birth and your death
Mhm.
actually mean nothing. What
Correct.
means the most is that little dash in between. That's the biggest space because that's what have you accomplished
Correct.
in those two dates? How much have you done? What impact have you made, right?
I think that's brilliant. And
Huge.
here's something that I had heard a while back, and I just remembered it now based on your comment. If you were to sit down and write your own eulogy, what would it say?
Uh,
What did you accomplish in your life? How many people did you help? Your
yeah,
your partner, your kids, your parents, and that's great. That should be. But what else did you do? Who did
yeah,
you help? Who did you offer an opportunity to that was down and out and had no hope? What did you do to help other people? What does your eulogy look like?
Yeah.
And that's the
Okay.
dash between your birth date and your end of life date.
Yeah, it's like, what impact did you make? That's my biggest thing is I want to leave an impact on this
Yep.
world. I want people to know, 10 years from now, 20 years from when I die, I don't want people to be like, oh, forget about them. I want to be some kind of impact on at least my kids, and I think I'm doing that now,
Mhm.
and I think I really want to leave some type of impact on this world of doing good things and being great for people, and Steve, you're doing that. What you're doing, I think is fantastic.
Thank you.
You're making an impact on saving people's financial situation. And no matter how you look at it, whatever angle you take on it, you're saving their financial future.
So one of the things we ask people, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah.
Financially, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want it to be, oh, Steve left his family in a lurch. They left the mortgage, they left the car loans, they left whatever debt. Do you want to be remembered for that? Or do you want to be remembered for all the bills are paid for?
Yeah.
They helped people, they mentored people, they had a positive impact. That, to me, that's the way I want to be remembered,
Yeah.
not the fact that I left my family in a lurch
Yeah.
financially. Again, we're talking
Right.
finance. Yeah.
You spend weeks and months digging through everything, trying to sort it out, figure out what's going to get paid, what's not, what are the creditors going to do, who they coming after, because a lot of people don't realize the creditors will come after you if you are a living member of your whoever passed away. They will try.
They will come after you and they will only succeed if somebody else's name was attached to your debt.
Yeah.
So the example I give you, and it's a great point, the example I give you is when my mother-in-law passed away many years ago, she had, for whatever, she had very high outstanding credit card balances. But all those credit cards were in her name only. When she passed away, the credit card companies went after my wife. And all we had to do was send in a copy of the death certificate that said, she passed. My name's not on the credit card applications anywhere. I don't have signatory. I don't have anything. Basically, take a hike. Because if you continue to hassle me, the next call I make is to my attorney.
Got it.
But if her name was attached to those cards, yes, they would have come after my wife, no
Yeah.
doubt. And they would have a right to do that.
Sure.
So the moral of that story is if you have debt, keep it in your name only. That's the
Your name
moral of that
won't.
story.
That's
Okay.
right. That is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So that's kind of my words of wisdom for the day.
Very good stuff. Good
Protect
stuff for this
yourself.
time of year.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Protect
Yeah.
yourself at all times, just like a boxer.
Yeah. Right. Like a
You know,
boxer.
protect yourself at
Muhammad
all
Ali,
times.
what was he?
And
Duck
so,
and roll. What was it? I forget what phrase he used. Um,
yeah.
but
Fly like a
Bob
butterfly,
Ali,
sting like a bee.
there you go.
Yeah.
He was one of the best boxers ever, Muhammad
Yes, he
Ali.
was. Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Steve, good stuff, man. Again, thanks.
No,
My pleasure
absolutely.
coming on the Friday at 4 podcast because
It's Friday at 4 somewhere, or it's
it's it's
somewhere at
it's
4
4
something.
o'clock
However, you
somewhere.
tell me how that phrase goes. You're better at that than I am.
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
All right. I like the way you said it better. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
As you can
Steve.
see, we're having tons of fun here. So, okay.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
love it. Now I know you're going to be absent next Friday, so
Right.
I'm hoping to have a special guest on next
Oh,
week. So
good.
hopefully that I got that covered, and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited, but you
Perfect.
will be
Good.
missed next
Thank
week.
you. Yeah, I
And
will miss it. So trust me, I will be missing it. So
yeah, yeah. So we'll have to see what we come up with and see what our special guest has to talk about. And
good
so
stuff. I'm sure it'll be
yeah,
good. Tune
yeah,
in. Tune in for the special guest.
special guest.
Yep.
Dave, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great
You too.
weekend, and we'll talk soon.
You got it. Thanks, Charles. Have a great
Yes,
one.
sir.
Take care.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks for being here.
You got it. Bye. You too.
Okay.
Thanks.